So I just thought I'd take it into my own hands and start my own company, and it's blown up. I think the world is going, what's going on in Utah? And this was a massive risk to take. There's gonna be drama. It's entertainment TV. I freaking love that, because the truth is the only relationship you will have your entire life is the one with you. Yeah. Could be great for you, but if you don't want to be on this ride with me, I get it.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Small Lake City Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Nilsson, and this week's guest is someone who has not only made a lot of moves in the real estate industry in Salt Lake, but also just had her own reality TV show air on Bravo called Sold on SLC. If you haven't guessed yet, her name is Jennifer Yo, and I had a great conversation with her about what it was like being born in Utah, going to California, coming back, getting married, getting divorced, where we talk a lot about her founding her real estate company, Presidio Real Estate, but then also being included in a Bravo TV show until being asked to have her own show. We talk a lot about her relationship with her husband and what it was like to date to find her perfect guy and how long that took. But there's something in this for everybody. Jennifer was a great person to talk to, and I know that you're all going to enjoy this one. So enjoy, and I will see you on the other side. I mean, you have those moments where you go through like a ton of hyper growth, and it's like, and last year was that to like the nth degree for me. Was it? And that was honestly like one of the biggest hallmarks of kind of like capping off the year with that growth. And with him, so again, like I met him last January, February, recorded February, March, and then become really good friends, spend so much time, and then I get a call from him. It was like, I think it was right after Christmas, like the Monday after Christmas. He calls me at night. He's like, hey, what are you up to tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. Like, it's the time before Christmas and New Year's. Like, what does anybody ever do? And he's like, well, me and my girlfriend kind of need to get married to make a couple things easier. And we thought you'd be a good person to do it. And so I was like, before I say anything, yes, like I'm in 100%. And then I'm like, so where are we doing this? He's like, I don't know. I thought you could help us brainstorm. I'm like, okay, all right, let's workshop this. And next thing I know, the next day, like 3 p.m., we're at the top of Solitude with them and their son.
Did you already have your Justice of Peace?
No. I mean, you can get it in like 5 minutes.
Stop.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like a week turnaround type thing.
No,
that's so funny.
It is so, like, even I was, because I've heard of friends doing it. Like, I've had friends marry friends before.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've never been like, all right, like time to figure out for myself what this looks like.
So you got it fast and married him.
Got it fast.
That's a great story.
Yeah. So it was like, that was the way to end the year of like starting the year being like, I don't know what I need to be doing. And then
for sure.
Figuring it out and having it all come back around where it's like, oh, it was all worth it. It was all this.
Yeah. Meeting people, networking, great. It's a great experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you know, I mean, I always am. There's people who told me I should have been a real estate agent just because, you should.
If you ever need a side gig, you should do it.
Deal.
Yeah.
But welcome me to season 2. I'll be like, all right, who needs a podcast host / brand new real estate agent?
Hey, you never know. You definitely have a personality, so that's kind of creating relationships with people is one of the biggest things you do. So
totally.
Yeah.
I will say the last thing I need in my life right now is another hobby, though.
I know for sure. Don't we all?
I mean, it was 2 years ago because like it was about honestly this time it was coming to summer. I was like, okay, I road bike, I run, I trail run, I bike, I paint, I do this. And I was like, all right, we got to reel this in. Like I can't do all of this. And then so I eventually like doubled down on golf and run.
Good job.
And so I'm trying to keep that main mentality. Even my friends are like, hey, you should get a mountain bike. You should go do this. You should like, listen, friends. Not how that works.
Yeah. It's like my closet. It gets too full. And my husband says if I put one article of clothing in, I have to take one out.
Yes.
So if you add a hobby, you have to stop one hobby.
Yes. Well, and there was a guy so my first job after college was at Nordstrom's corporate office in Seattle.
Oh, yeah?
And the director I had when I first started there, they had that same mentality. Really? And like at my point in life, like I was very into fashion. I loved like streetwear and buying clothes. And so like in my naive head, I was like, idiot, like why wouldn't you want to have more clothes? And then it was funny, like even recently I've looked at my closet and similar thing. I'm like, we don't need more.
Right.
And then like his voice came back to my head. I'm like, yeah, we gotta.
Yeah. One in, one out.
It's a good mentality.
It kind of is for sure.
Yeah. But Jennifer, I'm excited today because it's so fun when there's little parts of Salt Lake that I don't know. Because there's a lot that I do know and it's fine. Like I know who to reach out to, people I'm curious about.
Sure.
But then there's these little avenues where I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this like really happened. And I can't remember how I found out about you. Because I actually think I was just like, because like, just like most people, I'll be laying in bed, I'll have like a random epiphany of like, oh, let's look at this. And then I was thinking there was something to do with like reality TV shows in general. And I was like, wait, there was another one that just came out recently. I was like, sold on SLC. And I was like, oh yeah, Jennifer Yeo, Presidio Real Estate. I'm like, let's see if she wants to come on the podcast.
I know. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of fun to have this hyper local cool thing happen to Utah with Bravo TV. And so it's huge for Utah. These things are big for us. So I'm super excited to be a part of it. And I'm grateful you called and asked.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've learned recently, and it's because of the podcast, that like there's so many people that want to do things or willing to do things. And literally all you have to do is ask.
Totally.
And so the amount of people are like, even sometimes I joke about like, because I'll slide in someone's DMs, be like, hey, like something so simple as, hey, I host a local podcast that does this. Do you want to come on? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then I like what you said about, having shows that are highlighting Utah, because you think about, even this like typical Bravo shows, especially like Housewives, like you look at the geographies that they're in, and Utah is like kind of the smallest one of them, but it has this cult following.
Oh yeah.
And then you see, like sold on SLC, and then you have, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You have, the countless documentaries that have come out, and so it's so fun to have people that have grown up here and like know that it's a unique place for a couple of reasons, but then now everyone's starting to figure that out, and it's just like these microscopes on all of these different areas.
I totally agree. I think the world is going, what's going on in Utah?
Yeah. Good, bad, ugly, all of it.
Totally.
Just like everywhere else. And obviously I love it here and choose to stay here. And it's fun to see kind of, there's like the positive of everything of the growth and people wanting to be here. And then, there's the negatives of, the traffic and the skiing and kind of house prices, which helps you. And so it's interesting to see how it comes. But at the end of the day, it's happening. And
it's happening.
You can complain.
We got to embrace it.
You can gripe about it all, but you can't fight it.
It's so true. At some point we were going to evolve anyway. It's happened to a lot of other states. It's now been happening to us for quite a long time now. And it's just one of those things we have to embrace or move. Those are your options.
Yeah. In or out.
You can complain too, but you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. And like some people have, and like, there's always the boomerang people that like, oh, I hate Utah, I'm going to get out of here.
For sure.
Next thing you know, they're like, hey, I'm back. Like, we all had to do it.
Totally.
But Jennifer, I want to hear more of your story, because cool. I was actually honestly trying to figure out before, last night, are you born and raised in Utah, or did you move here?
So I was born in Utah, but I quickly moved out of Utah and went to California, Newport Beach, Orange County area.
Gross,
and
ugly.
It was gorgeous. It was so great back then. It was when they still had orange trees everywhere, and now the real estate is taken over. So I loved living there during that time, and I moved here for my high school years, and I've been here ever since, which is a long time. Not going to tell you how old I am.
I would never ask you.
That is such a great guy. I love that.
Yeah. Would never ask a woman her age or weight or anything like that.
For sure.
But at that point, so you're in Utah, you come back here. Sorry, you're in Utah, you go to California, you come back. Mm-hmm. Being this high school graduate knows the world ready for it. What was your plan at that point? Or what were you going to go do to conquer your own world? Oh,
I was raised Mormon. So I had a totally different perspective of what I wanted to be and become. And there was part of me that wanted to be a mom, grow up. Not necessarily like a mom, but like a wife, and have a career, but it just kind of was the typical Mormon way. And then I just had a totally different life thrown at me. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of evolved and changed to who I am today. So I'm kind of grateful for all the opportunities, for sure.
Yeah. It's always funny to go back, because like I was, raised Mormon as well.
Yeah.
Went on a mission, and then where was I going with that? Yeah, but it's so funny because like I remember vividly this conversation I had with my mom in her kitchen when I was like fresh home from my mission.
Sure.
And I was like, Mom, I'm going to get married in the next 18 months. Didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Because I had a great experience in college. So many friends, learned who I was. And even now, like if I could go back in time and talk to that version of me, we would hate each other.
For sure.
Like I was the kid who's like, oh, you're listening to that music? Like, did you even go on a mission? Or like, did you do this?
Isn't it crazy? Well, see, because I was Mormon in California, and there was only like...
Different breed.
There was only like 3 or 4 LDS people in my junior high. So I was the minority. And then to move here and be part of, the majority of people, it was culture shock. It was crazy to me. The Mormons here were so different than the Mormons in California.
Totally.
So I was kind of the same way. I was this goody two-shoes, never did anything wrong, got married in the temple, like all the cool things. And then it was just kind of like, hang on a second, this is strange.
Yeah.
You know
How
what I mean?
did I get here?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm voluntarily made these decisions.
Yeah, you just have so much influence through family and friends and the culture around here that you really become something that has a lot to do with how you were raised.
Yeah. And it's fun to see. I mean, I feel like that's a conversation I've had so much with my friends. And I mean, it's not necessarily post-faith crisis, even though a lot of it can be, where there's so many people in my age right now. Like I'm 34, mid-30s, and there's so many of my friends and people I know that have gotten to this point. They're like, okay,
sure,
I did everything everybody told me to. I did the plan. I did the path.
Sure.
I don't like this as much as I thought I would. But like also I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. And I don't know what to do from here.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, there's the two ways to think about it, right? There's the negative side of like, I don't know what to do. I've done this. I only have so much life left, whatever.
Sure.
But then there's the positive side being like, I can do whatever I want to.
The world is my oyster.
I can rebrand myself. I can redo everything. And so it's been fun to see those people who've championed it. And I mean, I would throw myself in that camp in just, I mean, rebranding, find out who it is and do what you want.
I would throw myself in that too.
Yeah.
I don't have anything really extremely negative to say about the church. I just definitely, it isn't the lifestyle that I, as an adult and as a person that I've become, it just doesn't really fit my lifestyle. And so I think the coolest thing about being in Utah is the church. Like that culture creates safe communities, all sorts of cool things that we're like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Totally.
Nice people. Your neighbors are always kind. So
crazy.
Right?
And that's one thing that I am always going to be grateful for about Salt Lake, because like Salt Lake will always have a very strong community.
Yeah, for sure.
And which comes from the church. And then, I mean, people leave or people move here and they're like, wait, I missed that aspect, but where do I find it? And I mean, around Salt Lake and the Valley and I mean, Utah in general, you'll find these little subcultures and pockets and underbellies of people that want to find that community and kind of lifted where they stood.
Totally.
And I always tell people, like, if anybody ever comes to me, and I hear it a lot, where people are like, oh, there's no people here. I don't feel community. I don't know where. I'm like, what have you done to try to find it?
Totally. You have to be a part of it. I totally agree with that. You could say, find all the negative here. You could say that people aren't kind, but I promise you, go travel, look at the world. We have some really good people here.
Agreed. You just have to do a little bit of effort.
Totally.
Because it's not like there's gonna, like, that's one epiphany I've had recently is there's like this reel or TikTok I saw a while ago, and this guy going on a rant about like, you should not be at home. And at first I was like, hold on, I like being at home.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've thought about it a lot, and it's been recently where I'm like, oh, every single opportunity, great person I've met. I mean, obviously they're not knocking on my door and just being like, hey, I thought someone would live here and let's chat. Mm-hmm. And like, that's one mantra I've had that kind of like the universe has sent back at me, where someone will invite me to a dinner. And I'll be like, I don't want to go. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. But there's like 4 days and like 4 things in like a week period. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go. And so one of my friends, Bijan, invited me to this dinner, and it's a really great dinner. There's these like set menus by Chef Mateo, called Monty Dinners.
Okay.
And so it's like they essentially like rent an Airbnb, have a whole set menu, and it's phenomenal.
Cool.
And so I show up, and I mean, worst case scenario, I have a dinner with my friend.
Sure.
But then, like, there's also, like I said, there's people I know in Salt Lake, and there's some I'm trying to get in front of, and some are harder than others.
Yeah.
But so we're having this dinner, and like, it was kind of an interesting seating because there was a dinner table with like 3 on each side and each person at the head. Mm-hmm. And I'm at this head, but then there's a counter space where there's 2 tables, 2 chairs. And so as I'm like sitting there, like the table's full, I'm like, okay, there's still 2 more people coming. And then sure enough, I see Tamara and Takashi restaurant walk in, and I was like, and there's someone I've been wanting to talk to.
That's so great.
And so there's like 4 of those where I was like, I don't know if I want to go to this. And then I show up, and then there's someone I'm like, hey, I've been wanting to talk to you. He's like, yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you too.
I can so relate to that. I think as I was building my business for so many years, I put my head down and I didn't do a lot of networking. And I so regret it now. Now I'm kind of in my networking era, and it's so great to get to know people, other business owners, like people that are killing it here in Utah. It's so fun to get to know them. So I get that for sure. Yeah. And especially for your podcast, you want to be networking for sure.
Yeah. And I've tried to use the term networking less, like, because when I think of networking, it's almost coined to be this, like, I'm meeting you for an intentional purpose. It's probably professional or business related where we can get something out of each other. So instead I've just tried to like, just be like, hey, I'm just going to make friends.
Good point.
I'm going to go talk to people.
For sure.
And cause like I would never, of most of the people I've met via or had on the podcast, like it's never like this, all right, I know you're on here, but I'd really like this to happen. Like, worst case scenario, I'll ask them to introduce me to someone, which they're usually good for. But it's like I was talking about Bobby, like, but now I've just like made these friends that
So
are like
cool.
the right people in the right time of my life. And
Yeah.
and that's how it all came together of like, oh, like I need to be out and about. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm like, don't get me wrong, like everybody needs to recharge. Everybody has their time.
Sure.
But when every single night, every single weekend, every single whatever, you're like, oh, I'm just going to be at home. I'm going to do this. I don't want to say it's like, like I get it, but like go live your life.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah.
Make some memories.
So you graduate, you're here in Utah, you're starting to figure out, you're like, okay, like I need to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, walk me through the paths that have ended up with you starting Presidio, starting your real estate career.
Yeah, it was simple. I had a friend invite me to get my real estate license. And like most people, I was like, finally, reluctantly, I'll get it on the side and I'll just make it a side gig kind of thing. And I did that. And I just fell in love with it really quickly when I was helping homeowners and buyers walk through homes that they could visualize their kids there. And it just was like, this is so great. And, you know, the paychecks aren't too bad either. No. So it was one of those things where I was like, I'm actually really good at this. I'm a good advocate. I care for people and I'm a great negotiator. And I actually the paycheck's great. So I kind of loved it. I was working at a PR firm and I just quit that job and went full force into real estate and I haven't looked back. So 18 years later, here I am, started my company Presidio 14 years ago. We grew it to one of the largest independent brokerages in the state, one of the largest brokerages in the state. So I think that's why all of a sudden Bravo was knocking on my door and saying, hey, could we do a reality show about you and your company? And I was like, that would be cool. I mean, who turns down NBC?
Yeah. And like, I've never had someone approach me with that conversation,
Sure.
But like for someone to be like, hey, we want to do a show about you. Like, I can't fathom like what that would do. Like, because obviously the answer is yes, because like, why wouldn't you?
Thank you. Because why would you turn an opportunity like that down? Granted, all of the fears and thoughts and doubts and wait, why me? Would I be an idiot on camera? Like it all came flooding in.
Totally.
But the good thing about reality TV shows, it takes a long time to get them up and running. So when I was kind of like, yeah, I think I could do that. It was 2 years before we started filming.
Really?
Yeah. So you start to get to the point where like, I got this. I can do this. And you're not so much doubting yourself anymore. So
yeah. And like on the Presidio side, I mean, so you have this experience of being like, okay, I want to be a real estate agent. I want to do this. But at what point did you double down even more and be like, you know, I'm going to start my own brokerage. I'm going to start my own thing.
That was coming right out of the downturn of 2008. It was about 2011. And it was just like, I don't know. I had some experiences with some pretty shady people at the brokerage I was at. And I was literally like, there's got to be something better than this.
You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And at the time, people were running away from real estate because nobody could, you know, buy and sell properties, or realtors couldn't help people buy and sell unless they were doing short sales. So I saw people get out of the industry so fast. It was kind of like I couldn't find a brokerage at the time that fit what I was looking for. So I had a builder and he's like, Jen, why don't you just start your own brokerage? And I was like, I didn't really think about that. And before you know it, here I am, you know, started Presidio, and I never dreamed I would grow it to where where it is today. Mm-hmm. But, you know, that was kind of my path. It was like, I realized I was good at that too. I realized, you know, people wanted to follow a strong leader and wanted to follow someone that had really good, high ethical standards and really wanted to change the industry for the communities. And so there's a lot of realtors out there that want that, even though we're in the top 3 most untrusted professions out there. It's crazy. That kind of broke my heart when I heard that. Lawyers, car salesmen, and realtors? What? That's my career. I help homeowners get into homes. And so that was hard for me. Yeah. It was like, all right. Then I went to the board of realtors here in Salt Lake and said, what can we do to up the levels of, you know, people getting into this industry, the education? What can we do? And they were like, serve on the board. I'm like, that's not going to do anything. Yeah. Besides, if it's political that way, you're going to tell me what to say and how to do it. And, you know, I'll be your puppet. Yeah. So I just thought I'd take it into my own hands and start my own company, have my own levels of standards, and it's blown up.
Yeah. And I love that it's like part of that impetus was, I don't want to be part of the shady side of things. Because everybody in almost the U.S., but also mostly in Utah, like I could name 10 friends that are real estate agents right now.
Yeah, totally.
And everybody knows someone who's like, I would not trust them with this.
Right.
And so I love that you had this impetus to start something that's like, hey, I want to do this right. I want to do this in a way that I can maintain my values. I don't have to be shady, and I can build the reputation of that. And that was such a strong on top of being a strong woman and like people that wanted to have a leader, that it grew to where it was just because of
passion.
Passion, exactly. And passion is something that people can always sense, and that authenticity behind it. And you can sniff the opposite from a mile away. Like there's people I've seen, they're like, I didn't see that coming. I was like, how did you not? Like, all of the red flags were there, but you just decided to like just focus on this one little data point and just keep going.
It was like a cult they joined or something, and you're like, how come you didn't notice that?
Like, listen, the Kool-Aid is good. I didn't realize it was what it was. Okay, so yeah, let's go back to Bravo. So they reach out. I mean, like, was it just, the producer that reached out at first?
So what happened was I was having my 10-year anniversary of owning Presidio, starting Presidio. And it was COVID. 2020, and I was bored out of my mind, and I literally sat down at the computer one day and was like, how do I get on Below Deck? Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah, because that's where it started.
That's where it started. So, and no joke, Eric, I was like, this is such a scam when they reach back out to me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play this and see how this goes, because they're like, yeah, we'd love to like do a casting call or whatever. And I was like, this is such a scam. Yeah. But it was real. I actually got all my friends together. We got into a front room, and we put on the Zoom camera, and they were like interviewing us. And I still at that moment was like, is this real or not real?
Yeah, like send me the link where I have to send the check to the prince in Africa.
Right?
And
like that's what I was expecting. And then all of a sudden they're like, we'd love to have you on. And I was like, okay. So we went on Below Deck, and it was just a great experience. But I wasn't quite prepared for like having a microphone on at all times, having cameras on you. Granted, on the boat, there's cameras in the ceiling of the boat, so sometimes you forget they're on you. Yeah. But it was a really good experience. And when we left, the casting director reached out and was like, would you want to be on Housewives? And I was like, I'm not sure I could do Housewives with my career.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the two combining very well.
It hasn't done great for some of them.
Sure. Yeah. And it has for others.
Exactly. Yeah.
But for me, because I'm a leader in the community, I was like, I'm not sure. And so then they were like, what about a real estate show? And I was like, well, that's my life. I could totally do that. So I don't know if it was just that Utah, the Housewives, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives had just come out. And I think that there was a lot of eyeballs on it. And they were just like, what about this? What about that? And I was like, I'll do it. That sounds great. So, like I said, there was a lot of fears around it. And I still, to this day, I'm like, was that the right decision? But
sometimes you never know.
Never know.
But also, it's like, I always like to have that mentality of, if I'm living my life, and even if someone's filming it, or if someone's writing a story, like, let's give them something good to read and watch about. Like,
right.
Because I not just go sit at home all day. So if someone comes to me and is like, hey, you want to do this? Be like, why not? Like, worst case scenario, it like doesn't go anywhere, they don't air it, or something happens, but at least I had this like unique experience that so few people get to have.
Well, and I kind of have this history of saying yes to a lot of opportunities. It's like, how do I turn that opportunity down? Plus, I'm a big risk taker, and this was a massive risk to take. But again, it's NBC. How do you turn down NBC? They're one of the largest affiliates in this entire country. So you're just like, yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah. Walk me through that process of like, because I imagine, because you have a business, and now they're like, all right, cool, let's just come film this all happening. Did people have reservations? Did it feel weird having people, recording everything? Do you feel like it like slowed down the business in general? Or like, what was that, process of introducing this new group of people and organization into your own life?
Because our headquarters is in Utah County, there wasn't a ton of realtors. I had 600 realtors at the time. There wasn't a ton that were like, I'm in. So it started to get kind of slim pickings of the people that I could put in front of the casting director, but there were still people willing. And so I put a few in front of them. They were pretty picky, which was strange to me. And when they didn't pick a few people that I thought would have been great on the show, that offended those people. And then they, are mad at me about it. I'm like, I don't have any control over this. But then they started asking, hey, can we look outside of your company? And I was like, well, if you have to, sure. But, that's up to you guys. Obviously, I don't run the show. So they found a couple of people outside of the company and were like, would you be willing to be at Presidio for this? And they were like, yeah. So 3 of them switched over to Presidio to be on the show.
Nice. And you're like, as long as you're a good agent, you can stick around and we can do all this.
And that was the hard part, because I didn't know who they were. I didn't know, a lot. You get busy. There's 20,000 realtors in the state of Utah. So you're literally like, I don't know who they are. Yeah. But the show thought they would be good for the show. And so I thought, all right, let's give this a shot.
Yeah. Because there's so many fun personalities on the show. Like, your assistant always cracks me up.
Oh, he's hilarious.
And so it's like, and I always think about like the producers, right? Because like they, at the end of the day, you have to create a drama.
Totally.
And like, so some people, I used to be that person where I'd be with people, they'd be watching The Bachelor and be like, this is so stupid. This is like, and I would just be like this, like shaking my fist at it. But then I'm like, you idiot. Like, of course it's all like contrived. Like they don't want to watch people have a healthy dating relationship and like,
otherwise it would be HGTV. So exactly. There's going to be drama. It's entertainment TV. And that's where, you know, I've had a lot of backlash, especially in the realtor community. It's kind of funny how many people are like, I can't believe you do that to the industry. And you're like, really? It was entertainment TV. Yeah. If you didn't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, you're the one watching it.
Right, exactly. So it is kind of funny to hear the different perspectives around it. But there is literally drama in every real estate transaction. You can't get a house under contract without being like, the other realtor sucks. They won't return my calls. And you're just like angry and frustrated. Yeah. So there's drama in everything. But then those interpersonal office, that drama, that isn't like it happens. It does. Yeah. Because there's competition. There's all those types of dynamics that go on between personalities. But it's not as it's not as pertinent in my company. I don't know if it is in other ones as the show wanted it to be. But when they brought over 3 other people that weren't from our show, it naturally happened. I mean, weren't from the company. It naturally happened. We were like, who are these outsiders, right? Yes. So I think the show people obviously know what they're doing. So
yeah, because I dated a real estate agent for like 6 months a couple years ago. And it was fun because like my parents, my dad was parents both in medicine. And I'd never really had a lot of friends that were agents and just didn't look behind the curtain much.
Sure.
And so we start dating and like, again, it's like, oh, this other agent, oh my gosh, why can't they just sign it? I'm like,
totally.
Oh. But then it's also like, well, so-and-so in the office did this. And I'm just like sitting there, just like listening, like, and this is why they make shows about this because it's just.
Well, and people love seeing beautiful homes. I do. I mean, it's one of the reasons I got into the industry. I was like, I love walking through amazing homes. And so it's a perfect combo for a great TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what were some of your highlights? Either things that were on screen or things behind the scenes that you're like, didn't think that was going to happen. But
Christian, my assistant, his personality came out of the woodwork like nobody's business. He was one of our agents, but he was in I have 17 locations across the state. And so he was in a different location. I didn't know him that well, but when I was hiring, he was kind of like, can I come meet with you? And I was like, sure. Well, I fell in love with his personality, who was like so fun, so funny. But as we were filming, it was like, I'm so sad how many things they cut out because there was the funniest things that he would do. And no joke, it is his real personality. Like, for instance, I had done like this trunk or treat with my car, and I had the front, it's a electric car, so the front hood was up and I had some teeth on it with stickers, with tape. And I was like, Christian, I haven't gotten the tape off my freaking Porsche. Please go out there and peel the tape off. Like, I just needed him to do something.
Yes.
He goes out there. They literally have the whole film crews out there with him. And I'm in my office working. And he's out there forever. I'm like, this cannot take that long to get tape off my hood. He was so lazy. He didn't want to do it. He's calling Porsche going, hey, how much does it cost to replace a hood? For tape. And I'm like, why did they air that? Like, this is the kind of guy. And it's so real. Yeah. He is so lazy. I shouldn't say lazy. He is so pampered. He doesn't want to do any work, which is why I fired him at the end of the season. And they didn't show that either. But I love him. He's one of my dear friends still. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to work with everybody that you love. There's all sorts of different relationships. And there's people that I work great with. And as soon as we didn't work anymore, it's like, all right, well.
For sure.
See you maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and as a CEO, I have a lot of hard things and, a lot of pressure that I deal with. So to have someone like Christian around that's just lighthearted, funny, makes me laugh, it was so great. And I think the two of us together were a great combo.
I mean, especially when, running the business, selling houses, that's something that you're used to. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden you have this other dynamic of like, am I being entertaining? Or like, here's all these camera crews and this other priority on top of it. I'm sure it's nice to have someone who's like, well, how about we just go replace the hood of your car instead?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It just made it really light. But yeah, I totally agree. I think there's that, there was even a moment when we were filming, I'm like, is this even going to be a good show? Because it's my daily life, helping agents, figuring out, our sales and all of that and taking care of the business. That's my life. And so it didn't seem very entertaining. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, who's going to watch the show? Yeah. And then the big spoiler with Matt came out and I was like, now we have a show. Yeah. Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Oh, yes, they do.
They always do.
For sure.
I'm even talking to one of my other friends who was on a reality show. It's funny because they were all on this show and it was Ink Master, and they're like, he's talking about how, like, sometimes they'd be sitting there and be like, hey, listen, we need you to say stuff about each other to each other. Like, we need drama. They're like, oh, but we're like all friends. I'm like, we're all going to go back to the hotel. It's like, it doesn't have to be like, it's as personal as you want it to be. Everybody knows it's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah.
And so, but it's nice when it's like, oh yeah, here's a little wrench, here's a little this, here's a little that.
For sure. And, they did a really good job of not scripting a lot for us, but they did encourage us. Like, hey, by the way, how do you feel about this? And, typically as a leader, you're like, I don't care. Let's move on. Yeah. But there was a lot of like, but she said this and she did that. So how do you feel? A little bit of encouragement to have a little more drama in the show. So
I guess I do have feelings.
Yeah. Then you start developing it all of a sudden. You're like, really? She said that?
Well, one thing I love about your story is your partnership that you have with your husband.
Yes.
And that, I love a good power couple, dynamic duo that takes it off. How did you guys, meet? How did you build this life together where, you're both doing, amazing things and supporting each other through it all?
Yeah. I think it came down to, at first, I knew what I was looking for. I was in the dating scene for like 9 years. And after getting divorced, my first divorce, I was like, I will not settle down again and get married again unless it's the right person. Mm-hmm. And I went so far as like writing a list of the things that were non-negotiables and the things that I really wanted. And when I met him, it was like, he is so great. But I wasn't that attracted to him at first. I told my twin sister, I'm like, he's kind of forgettable. But then the second date, all of a sudden, this totally different guy came out and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's adorable. Yeah. And then, I just started but his character was the greatest part about him. Who he is, his hard work ethic. He grew up as a farmer in Wisconsin. And so 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. he worked, and he's that same exact guy today. Like he pulls the covers over my head when he gets out of bed because he's making the side of his bed. And it's like, you are so crazy cool. Because he's just like always like, he's got this regimen and he works hard and he's, and he's the greatest heart, good person. And I needed that, knowing what I want to do with my career. Mm-hmm. I needed somebody that supported me, loved me, believed in me. And it was, he was all of that. Yeah. And so I just knew there were certain characteristics that I couldn't deal with if I was going to go build a business.
Yeah. And that's one thing I find myself in now. Cause I'm single and dating. Yeah. And I have the list in my phone of here's my non-negotiables, here's my nice to haves, here's my needs to haves, and here's my sugar on top, so to speak. Yeah. And it's funny because I talk to people about dating, and for me, I enjoy dating because conversation, get to know someone, shocker. For sure, I enjoy it. But then at the same time, there's nothing as personal as dating because you attract what you put out. For sure. And so I've had friends, both talk to me and I've talked to them about it. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall. I can't meet a girl. I'm like, well, let's unpack you. What's going on in your life? Do you feel like you have unsettled things? Or do you feel like you need to process stuff? Yeah. But then there's also the underlying theme of you can only let someone get to know you and vice versa as well as they or you know yourself. Totally. And so many people try to skip this important step of hey, who are you? What do you want? What does life look like? What are your values? Who are you? Yeah. And they just want to skip to oh, there's a hot girl, I'm gonna go chase after her. And it's hey man, I don't not going to discredit you. I get it. Yeah, for sure. But maybe just think about this 30 more seconds. Yeah. And so it's nice because I can always see people, not always, but talk to people who are dating, and again, they get, so disheartened. They don't know what to do. They're so let down. But I always am impressed with the people. It's you know what? No, I'm not settling. I'm going to do what I want. I know what I want, and I will find it, because if is what you want and what you should have, it will work itself out. Right. Because energies come together, and the more you put yourself out there and don't stay at home, that you'll find those people. And it's been fun to see, even in my life, it's so many things in my life have been this pendulum swing where, I'm oh, cool, this, let's get it narrower. Where when I first found myself dating again, it was I'm all over the place. Sure. But then now I'm we're pretty close to figuring out exactly who that person is. That's awesome. And so it's a hard problem. But all the things that are worth it tend to be hard. And I would never say anybody needs to go start a podcast and put their face out there for everybody to see to go find people.
Or join a reality TV show. Sure.
I won't discredit anybody if they want to. Sure.
But to your point, knowing yourself really well, I also think part of that is learning to love yourself, your flaws, your every part of your aspect, because every aspect of you, because once you do, it's easier to allow love into your life.
Yes.
And I think for me, I had hit my head against a wall for a long time, and I was dating all the wrong guys. I had all the wrong mentality about what I wanted in a guy. And once I realized why, it was like, oh, why do I feel insecure enough to feel like I need somebody to fill that bucket or that bucket? And one of them was money. I was coming out of 2008. It was like, oh my gosh, I need a guy that makes money. Well, why was that a concern for me? It was just an insecurity about where I was in the time. And so for me, it was kind of like, wait, hang on. Am I capable of making my own money? Yeah. Can I do that? Can I go figure that out? Yeah. And so once you start learning more about yourself, to your point, and then loving yourself despite the flaws, that's when all of a sudden I think it's easier to find someone to love you back. And I think they sense that. I think they sense that when you are dating.
Yeah.
Like, I really genuinely have good respect for myself. And then you find someone that can respect you and themselves.
Well, then it becomes this game of, and it's one that's been fun of like, when I first started dating, there was so much of like, yeah. Oh, are you free? Or you want to do this?
Totally.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to do this? Like, hey, how's it going? Like texting all the time, just feeling like there had to be this like almost like proven sense of what needs to happen, or like wanting to be there and just making yourself overly available, until one of my friends, she was like, you need to be busier. Like you need to just like have a life. You can't just make this your whole thing and just make this person your whole thing. I was like, oh, I've never thought about it like that, you know?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, like people be like I'll be dating a girl and I'm like, oh, actually I'm okay. Like, I wish you the best. Like, what do you mean? No. I was like, oh, I just like, there's this and this, like, that's not me. And this is what I want. She's like, oh, like, okay, like
love that
makes sense. And also if someone's like, hey, you want to get together? I'm like, actually I have plans. Like I doing things like that. You aren't the center of my life. Like eventually you do want someone who can be that, or like be your sidekick in it all. And it's interesting to see the people who are like, again, like have this goal and just want to fill the goal with whatever can happen and check this box. But then it's like, hey, there's all of these like insecurities you have to face. There's all of these, because like there's a big difference between loneliness and solitude. And like everybody has experienced some form of loneliness. They don't have a community. They don't have, a support system, a network, whatever that might be. But solitude's amazing. Like I love being able to like even, let's see, it was 4-ish weeks ago, I was down in southern Utah at one of my friends' Airbnbs outside of Capitol Reef National Park. And I just went down alone for 4 days, hiked, just kind of like reset, pondered. And like there was a time I was on this hike and I was like laughing to myself to the point where I'm like, I enjoy spending time with me. Like I can spend time and have so much fun. And so like once you can reach that stage where you're like, hey, win or lose, it's still me and me, and I'm okay with that.
I freaking love that, because the truth is the only relationship you will have your entire life is the one with you.
Yeah.
And whether you get married or not, the one that stays your entire life from the day you're born to the day you die is the relationship you have with you. And if you can't go spend time alone by yourself and not feel comfortable, you gotta do some inner work.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be some work done of why you don't, what is it that you don't like being in your own company. So I love that you can take a couple days off, go do that, and have a fantastic time.
Like I told people, they're like, were you okay? Like, is everything fine? I'm like, yeah, it was voluntary. I chose to do this.
People usually think that's like a mental health break that you're taking, right?
Like, did you have a manic episode? Or are you going to be okay? Did you go to a place you can talk to us?
Crazy,
I'm like, listen, like whatever you're going through, don't put that on me.
Let's normalize alone trips. Let's normalize this.
Oh, that's been, last year was a huge part of that. Cause like there was, all of these like stupid social media posts I would see where it's like, I'm not going to let someone keep me from living my life. I'm going to go travel on it. First I was like, yeah, stupid swipe. But then after a while, I was like, I'd be like, oh, I want to go to this concert. And there'd be people like, oh, I don't want to go. Come find a day. I'm like, it was honestly the first one was the Blink-182 last year. Because, grew up with Blink-182. It was there when my parents got divorced. Like big artists in my life.
Sure.
And at first I was like, it's expensive. I don't know if I want to go. No one will go with me. And I live literally 0.85 miles away from Delta Center.
Nice.
And so it was like an hour before it started. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going alone, and I don't care. And like, there's these moments where I'm like, oh, I can do this. And I probably went to 4 or 5 concerts alone last year. But then I also love just going into a restaurant being like, oh, do you have a seat at the bar? Cool. Whether it's just me sitting on my phone and just like organizing my life, or me just throwing on a show and having AirPods in. Yeah. And like, I'll tell that to people who are like, why would you do that? I'm like, because
they think something's wrong with you.
Yeah, like I can't go by myself. Is there some sort of taboo?
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, there's an important part of being able to love yourself, and like truly, like, like being able to actually look in yourself in the mirror every day and say, hey, like, proud of you. We're doing this.
Well, and the only way you can learn to love yourself is by gaining your own self-respect. And that is literally like habits upon habits of like, if I set a goal and I hit that goal, you start to gain respect for yourself. And that's how I developed. Like I was out of a marriage where my self-esteem was on the floor. I literally didn't think I was worth anything. And so I had to build that self-respect and that self-love. And I didn't know how to do it other than like starting, and it wasn't even conscious. But if I start doing things that I want to hit that goal, I want to achieve something great, and I did, then I was like, I'm proud of myself. Yeah. And you start to gain this self-respect and this self-love that it opens up doors for when you're ready for other love to come into your life. And thank goodness I was ready for that, because Darren is he's such a solid dude. Like he has his own self-esteem, his own life, and yet he's there to support me. Like I'm so lucky to have that in my life.
I love that. And like that's been, part of the like qualitative things that I've learned from the podcast is like, it's interesting to put like one thing I will never go back to is, the people pleasing and doing things for external motivation or rewards.
Awesome.
And it's a journey, not a destination, and we're all gonna make mistakes, but
sure.
It's interesting when I was myself, my authentic self, and said, you know what, people are going to leave, people are going to come, we're going to figure it out.
Yep.
And so it's weird when you hit this moment where you're like, I'm just going to be myself. And because at the end of the day, you can be nothing better than yourself. Like if you try to be something else, you'll never be that good because it's not who you are.
And eventually you'll stop doing that and you'll let other people down.
Yes.
So be yourself.
And then it starts this flywheel of like, once you start being yourself, then the right people come in and then the right opportunities come through. And it's because it's who you are meant to be and who you actually are, you're good at it. And the more you're good at things, the more your confidence goes. And then the more it becomes stronger. And all of a sudden you have this engine going and you're like, oh, like even now in my life, like it's weird because like everything's been working out.
That's awesome.
Because I've never been in a place where I can be so comfortable and be myself.
Yeah.
And then people see that comfortability and they're like, oh, like, hey.
Yeah, they sense authenticity. When you're yourself, they're like, cool. I don't have to have any guessing games with who you are and what you're going to do. And, it's so great. It creates some of the greatest bonds when you're just yourself. And it also offends a lot of people. Yeah. And so you have to be okay with both. Like, some people won't like me. I'm not for everybody. But some people will love me and gravitate towards my authenticity. And that's all I care about. Yeah. The ones that care about me. So
plain and simple.
Yeah.
I'm no longer in high school or college. It's not a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I don't need everybody to be there.
I love that at your young age, you figured that out, because it takes women a lot longer. The people pleasing and being real and being authentic, but men, they kind of get to this real quick. Like, I am what I am, take it or leave it. But you're young and you figured it out now to just be your authentic self, and cool. Good job. Kudos to you.
Hey, thank you. It's been a journey, but it's been fun to see how much there is. And like also on the topic of like being in, no good marriage ends in divorce.
Sure.
And when you are in a bad relationship, you don't realize the amount of mental bandwidth it takes from you, because there's always this like, are they okay? Like you're worried about them. You're worried about the relationship. Oh, now we have to go have this conversation. And it's interesting when like that ends, it's over, it's gone. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have like another 50% of me that I didn't even know was possible. And I can put it towards other things. And I'm sure for you and like with Presidio, it's like, now I can show up and be myself and give all of me to this, instead of always having this thought in the back of my head, like you need to talk about that, or this isn't going great, or like, I have to, just some sort of
It's so
worry.
True. I was dating guys that were jealous and controlling, and there was something deep inside of me that I knew there's no way this will work, because it was like this potential inside of me that wanted out. It was like, I know I can do great things and cool things, but something's holding me back, and I couldn't figure it out until I hit like a wall of like, I got engaged to a guy and I broke that off, and I was like, okay, never getting married again until I figure out the right person for me. And I had to understand myself well enough to know what personality trait would go well with a person that's very ambitious, that works really hard. Because there's a lot of people there's men or women that could be threatened by that. There's men or women that could want to keep you small because it makes them feel like they have to become something better or bigger. And so I really knew what kind of personality trait I needed for the woman I wanted to become. And so that was easy for me when I saw Darren, I was like, we dated for like 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And it was like, dude, this guy is perfect. And I knew him well enough to know that we would have a long life together. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's fun when people find their people and it's like they're true people. Because like there's people I see get married, I'm like, look, I know. Like I know how it goes already.
Sure.
But like do your thing. And like, that's also why it's interesting like on dating apps, that I've now deleted, thank God. But like, it's interesting to hear people like, cause they'll just kind of regurgitate these buzzwords. Like, I want someone who's emotionally available and is present and goes to therapy and like does these things and successful. Like, it's just kind of like, it's the same list more or less. But then it's like, I'll flip it on and be like, oh, can you handle a man who's emotionally available?
Right.
Like, or emotionally open and honest and mature? Like, do you know how to like handle a guy who's like, hey, listen, like, you hurt my feelings? And
it's a really good follow-up question.
Yeah. And like, cause so many people want it, but they don't know how to like create that and hold that space for it.
Well, they probably sometimes, not all the time, but want it to fulfill something that they're lacking.
Yeah.
Like, but if he's emotionally available, maybe I'll be better emotionally available, but they're not really thinking that.
Yes.
It's subconscious. And so you have to be what you're looking for. Right. You have to reflect what it is you're looking for. If you can't be that, you're only going to attract the people that you're reflecting. Yes. Right. And once you start realizing that, why am I attracting these kinds of people, whether it's in business, in relationships, in dating, all of that? Why am I attracting those kind of people? Then it's a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I doing saying a big billboard on my forehead that says emotionally unavailable men come into my life, right?
Yeah.
So you got to figure that out.
Totally.
Yeah.
If the whatever's on the line isn't working, you probably got to check your bait if you're fishing.
Totally.
I'm not a fisherman. Use the analogies we want to.
For sure.
But I'm curious who else is in your like circle that you, or trust, the people that you rely on and you go to. I mean, what does that inner circle look like for you?
You know, through the years, it's gotten a lot smaller. I think as I grew a company, you tend to want to be everything to everyone in terms of like, when it's a real estate company, there's people follow you because they're so like, you're so cool and you inspire me and I want to be like you. And so you get a lot of people like that. But if you continue to grow, sometimes those people really they're uncomfortable with it. But I don't like this. When I took the company from 85 agents and knew I either needed to shut the doors because it was not very profitable or scale, I had agents that were so upset with me. I mean, they were like, but we're lifers. We've been here. Why would you do this to us? Why would you change the company? And it was like, well, like a mom would say to their child, if I don't do this for you and protect you, you are going to die. And so for me, it was kind of like, I have to make a change that could be great for you. But if you don't want to be on this ride with me, I get it. Yeah. And I lost plenty of people. And so I've had a lot of like a revolving door of people in my life, especially my business, because I continue to grow and innovate. And that sometimes doesn't bode well for a lot of people, but then it does for a lot of others. Yeah. A lot of people follow me and think, you know, I've had agents with me for 11 years and they're still very committed and that type of thing. But so I feel like through business, I've gained a lot of friends, but they're business friends.
Yeah.
And so I've had to learn personally how to whittle down who is my real friend, because I don't really have an extremely supportive family, and not that they're not supportive, they just have their own lives. Yeah. And so I don't have that expectation of like, oh, you guys should be calling me every day and asking me about my life, because I don't do it for them. So my family's a little disconnected, but I really needed a core group of friends, and it's down to about 4 or 5 people. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. I really am. So that's kind of my life, small circle, and I'm okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it small, keep it tight, keep it trustworthy. Otherwise, it's like there's a snake in the grass and they're going to blow the whole thing up. And I think that's one thing I've talked to a lot of people about recently is when you have people in your life for a while, there's like kind of 2 perceptions they can have. Is there's people that see you and they'll be like, oh, but you're like, I'm going to still view you as the person I met you as. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to let you grow in the way that you are. And I've had, childhood friends, because even like going back to high school, like I was the chubby kid who like all of my friends would be like, oh, like girls are coming over, like we need you to leave. And it's funny because some of them now still view me in that way or still view me as this, like, I don't want to say like put me under their thumb or anything. And like that's probably not giving them enough credit, but then there's the people who've been like, oh man, like you've done so well in the last few years. You've become this whole different person. Like I'm proud of you and then loved it. And it's so interesting to see. And like a lot of it does come down to like power dynamics and how they view themselves in relationships to others. And bullies never really grow out of it. They just find different ways to do it. And so it's an interesting time when people do go through growth, it's an interesting time to reflect and be like, oh, you can't be in this place in my life anymore. And it's not necessarily saying like, if you're not in, you're out, not black and white, but like, there's a book I read by Jay Shetty where it's, I think it was Think Like a Monk. It was either Think Like a Monk or the 7 Rules of Love. Anyway, what he kind of talks, because it was something I'd like mentally thought about, but he was the first person to like put it in words of like, how's like, here's your inner circle, here's your next circle, here's your outer circle. And like one thing I've done a lot with people recently is if I run into someone, wherever that might be, and I mean, we haven't seen each other in 2-3 years, whatever, like I'm never going to be the person that's like, oh my gosh, let's get lunch, let's go get coffee.
For sure.
Like, we're probably not going to.
Sure.
And especially when like, I know you don't have my number and I don't have your number.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I always love to pull the like, hey, it's so good to see you. Just know, like, I know we don't get together too much, but I see your life and I'm rooting for you and I wish for you the best.
I love that.
Because again, like I don't want, like if we haven't done anything in 3 years together and
most
none of us have reached
likely
out,
not going to be doing anything. Yeah,
right.
for sure.
And I'm not going to just sit there and lie and like tell someone they want to hear.
Good. I love that.
But like I will, there's a lot of people in my life I will see and be like, crushing it, keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you're even like, hey, like I hope you're doing, like I know it's hard right now, but I wish you the best. And if there's anything I can do, let me know.
I love that.
Because like there's like, that's like the nails on the chalkboard is I'll see something like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's get together. I'm like, no. Like text me, I dare you.
Right. Well, it is kind of crazy because I feel like even where you've come in your life, you do start to evolve in a way that people probably think you're untouchable now. And so then you become a threat in a way. And I think, even just me going on a reality TV show, what they displayed on TV is not who I am. And so, I mean, you get the edited version, the NBC edited version of me. And yet I've had a lot of judgment of who I actually am. And the truth is, what I know for sure, the people that know me. Yeah. And they are like, Jen, that was not you on the TV show. And it's kind of funny to hear that because it's so polarizing when you're like, oh, no wonder I have so many people like so either really like there for me and you're so cool, we loved you, but also the opposite. And so I bet you get a lot of that now, knowing how far you've gone in your life, that people are either like, you're a threat or I want on that train.
Yeah.
And even the ones that want on the train, you have to have discernment with. Is this really who I want on the train? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or do I even want to go to lunch with them? Yeah. I may not even want to do lunch with them.
Totally. And it's interesting because like imagine your life if you just still walked around with like dramatic music behind you and like the perfect setup for the stage.
For sure.
Like hey,
stormed out of a room.
Subtitles below you on every little thing.
Yeah, it's just not who, and what they see of your life, what people see of people on social media. You can't really judge a person by that. No. You have to get to know them. If you think something negative about someone, my thought is always challenge it. Mm-hmm. Find out first. I'm one of the biggest proponents of I will make up my own mind about somebody. If reality TV or Instagram or anything makes someone out to be this monster, I'm going to find out for myself if I really want to know. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to let someone define someone else for me.
Totally.
So I hope that people do that for you because you've evolved a lot in your life, done some really cool things.
Yeah, it's been fun to see who's there, who isn't, and who comes in. And it's also interesting to see what was I going to say?
But it is crazy how sometimes you can be really let down by people you thought were your friends. And sometimes you can be really surprised by people you didn't think were going to be there for you. Yeah. And it's been a really good journey for me. As I've grown businesses, I've, taken big risks, gone out on TV shows, all sorts of other things that I've done in my life. I'm opening a restaurant in Daybreak. These are big risks for me. And it's surprising how many people I've seen come into my life for all the right reasons and how many people leave for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say is, no, and it goes again.
Okay. I was trying to help, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Doing the right things for people, do stuff. I think I had to do with that, maybe. But like I've always learned just to assume the best in people. Like, because there's so many things, and like it's actually why I have a tattoo on my thigh of it. It's a quote from one of my favorite artists, Fred again, and it's, if you don't know, don't worry.
Love it.
Like, because again, like your anxiety is going to lie to you, which I have an aggressive amount of.
Oh yeah.
And so like if I ever am like, because again, my brain will always just catastrophize and try to like assume things and project things out. And I'm like, no, none of that's true. I don't know that. Mm-hmm. So like if, let's say, going on a date with a girl, cancels 2 hours before, hey, something happened. Like, okay, I hope things are well. Like, and then I'll tell it to a friend like, oh yeah, she probably did this, or like doesn't want to. I'm like, I don't know, like if she wants to reach back out again, she will. But if she doesn't, then that's fine.
Yeah.
And so like I've learned to just be like, even if someone's rude to me or someone says something like, I hope you're okay. I hope like I hope it's not you. And if it is, like, I hope like you have people that are taking care of you and doing the things you want to. Because it usually comes down to it. I mean, very few people in the world do bad things for the sake of only doing bad things. And usually have some sort of intention or some sort of thing that they're challenging in there.
Yeah, or some fear and some doubt. And, there's a lot of motivating factors for people to make dumb decisions.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen it. There's some people I see, I'm like, just walk me through the thought process of how you did it.
And they probably can't.
They're like, what thought process? I'm like, just checking. Just wanted to make sure
now
for
I know.
myself. But I want to talk about the restaurant. I didn't know about this.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that was like, we should open a wine bar. And I was like, yeah, that sounds really cool. I love it. And then she found this location in Daybreak that's right on the lake. And she's from Wisconsin. My husband's from Wisconsin, where there's restaurants on lakes everywhere.
It's what they do.
It's the coolest thing, right? And we don't really have a lot here in Utah. I think there's like 2 in the state. And so it was kind of like, we should do this. And we looked at the pros and the cons, and there's a lot of cons of opening a restaurant. And yet this one had a lot of heavy on the pros too. So we're kind of excited. We should be opening late June, if not early July this year.
That's exciting. I mean, sign me up for a glass of wine next to a
You'll
body of
come
water.
to the opening party.
Deal. It was fun. Again, real estate girlfriend from a couple years ago. She's from Michigan and ended up moving back.
Oh, cool.
But like the Midwest boat culture is so much better. Because like, I mean, here it's like, oh, cool, let's go on our boat, let's go wake surf.
Yeah.
It's like, which is fine. Like,
yeah, sure.
It's fun. But then you go to the like Midwest and it's like, oh, we're just going to go on a boat. We're going to play music. We're going to go to these spots where everybody else is.
Beer.
We're just going to drink beer on the boat. Sure. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just such a different experience. So yeah, if we can bring it a small taste of that.
I totally agree.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, should be fun. So, but I'm always doing things like that. I'm always opening new businesses, and I failed at a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for the ones I've done great at, because I've had a lot of failures.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, I mean, on the topic of restaurants, like, like I'm someone who, I'm a creature of habit, but I always try to try new things. And people who try new things, you have to realize, like, in all of it, it's a bell curve.
Sure.
Like, is there going to be amazing restaurants? Yeah, but there's going to be equally as many terrible restaurants.
Totally.
And there's going to be a lot of good ones. And similarly, like, here's a business, I want to go start, let's go do it. Like, okay, like, didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, like, don't let that keep you from the next opportunity of, let's go try something new.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to fail. And so, I went into this eyes wide open. Like, there's the percentage of restaurants that fail, I think it's like 86%. Like, it's really high.
Yes.
And so it was kind of like, should I do that? Should I do that business? And yet, I'm not afraid of failing. It's like, well, if I fell, what does it look like? Okay. I clean up the mess and I move on.
Yeah. Worst case, what happens? That's the worst.
Totally. Yeah. And so you kind of look at that when you're taking big risks. You have to go, okay, am I going to live under a viaduct? If so, that's probably a big risk. Yeah. But if not, then maybe I'd be okay. Yeah. I may have to, make some payments for a lot of years, but that's okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure Darren's just like, do it. Let's do this.
Actually, he is the most adverse to risk.
Oh,
and yet I've trained him. It's really funny because when I first got into real estate, he was like, when I started dating him and we were talking about moving in together, I was like, well, we should buy a house together and plan for marriage type thing. And he was like, no, we should probably rent. And I'm like, now, I'm a realtor, right? Like, because renting probably doesn't go hand in hand with a lot of realtors. And he was like, yeah, but I just think we should rent. And it was so, I had to teach him. And now he's learned over multiple purchase of homes in Utah how good it is to own real estate.
Yes.
And he's like, whatever, Jen, you buy whatever you want.
He's like, I trust you now. Do your thing.
He trusts me.
I love that. Yeah. Good to have someone that learns and listens to you.
For sure, definitely.
Sometimes it takes a little longer than you'd like, but...
Well, and he helps me refine my sales process, because if he's like, no, I'm like, hang on, I'm going to get to a yes here. Hang on. So I've become a really good salesperson because of my husband.
Hey, selling is a skill that's
totally
not just for salespeople.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So it's been so fun.
Cool. But every time it's usually, this, and I just get to meet someone.
I love that, because it is really genuinely about just like having a great conversation. I got to learn a little bit about you, which was so fun. And yeah. This is awesome.
It's a fun privilege to be able to just sit down with some really cool people and get to know them in a real way.
Right?
Yeah. And I always wanted that with the podcast. Like, because there's other podcasts where it's like, everything is so perfectly scripted and shot in this. I'm like, no, that's not me. Like, it's going to be as real as possible. And like, I hardly even ever take anything out unless it's like, me talking more shit than I should, or me
be careful
on someone. Yeah. I tend to be.
You did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. No wonder it's a huge success.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's fun to like have your own thing. And like, but it's also like such a personal thing. Like, cause I could go start an ice cream business and no one would know that I started an ice cream business, but I can't start a podcast and have people be like, oh, that's you. I had no idea. You know? So
yeah, and there's so much creativity in this too, because like even just reaching out to certain people of who you want on there, you have to really focus on what you want your podcast to be. So it's like creating something.
Yeah, it's a whole different muscle to flex.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Well, Jen, I want to end with the 2 questions I always ask everybody at the end of each episode. Number 1, if you could have someone on the podcast and hear more about their story and what they're up to, who would you want to hear from?
Marcus Lemonis.
Marcus Lemonis?
Yeah.
What a name.
Oh, you don't know who it is?
No.
Oh, he was the guy that did the show called Profit.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
And he would go in and fix businesses.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Marcus Lemonis.
Yeah.
What a name. That sounds like
it is a good name.
A Roman name of like, now welcoming Marcus Lemonis to the Colosseum.
For sure.
Cool. No, I'll definitely reach out to him. And then lastly, if people want to find out more about you, what you're up to, what's the best place to find more information?
Just go to my Instagram. It's Jennifer Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Jen, this has been great. You were a gem. I'm so glad that we got to sit down and chat.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be here.
No, thank you. It's always great. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Salt Lake City Podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, review, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. And we'll catch you next week. We'll see you there.